Raise it up. Raise it up. Chat Pro.
High Stakes Poker Productions presents on May 28th.
2.2 million. Oh, you gotta be kidding me.
The $1 Million Game is back.
If he gets called, he's down $1 million. It's the cooler we've been waiting for.
2 million pop.
Wow.
Man. Hit me. No balls. Then fuck you.
All in for Rampage.
God is choosing me. Yeah. God did.
What just happened? Rampage gets it through. 2.2 million. You all wanted blood? Here you got it. Instant legend. Tom Dwan has just won the biggest pot in the history of televised poker.
Texas Mike, Action Dan, Hands, Stanley Tang, Brandon Steven, Peter, Doug Folk, Tom Dwan, Santosh, Alan Keating. Are you ready?
Here we are again. We are at the Hustler Casino 1 year later. We are running it back. It is the $1 Million Game 2. I am here with the, I'll just say it, beautiful Veronica Brill and the handsome Christian Soto. And what we're gonna do here is we're gonna have a good time. We're gonna talk about some stuff for last year. We're gonna tell you who's playing today and a whole bunch more. Veronica, what do you got?
I'm extremely excited. There's not enough Botox in Los Angeles to take away my excitement tonight. We have some new faces this year, and then we have some returns.
That's right.
And I'm excited to talk about potentially breaking some more records this year.
That's right. So, Veronica and I will be hosting this year, and you'll be doing all the sign line stuff because you're way better at it. And you will be on the mic, sir, all day, all night until this ends.
I'm glad they found something for you to do.
That's right. That's right. That's right. I figured we were just going to go right into that. I dig it. Yeah. You know, I'm like, no, I got this.
And you and I were just hired for our looks.
All right. That's right. All right. With that said, gosh, I always prefer to self-deprecate, but since you guys took care of that, let's talk about just today's game first before we get into all the other stuff. Who wants to start out? Where do you want to start out? Do you want to open up? You can pick anyone on the list. You know it all.
Okay.
I could even put it in front of you, but
no,
you don't need it. You're a professional.
I already know who is my favorite for the night, who will be the bulldozer of the night, who will set fire to the game. That's Texas Mike. I'm his #1 fan, and I'm looking forward. He's already tweeted that there will be blood, okay?
Even if it's his.
Even if it's his, he doesn't care. He's a fan of poker. He's got bracelets. He's a psychopath with skill and probably the most dangerous player at the table besides Tom Dwan.
Thoughts on Texas Mike?
Yeah, but the stakes are a little bigger today, though.
He don't
You
care.
saw him play on the Friday
That's
game.
true. That's true. That's true.
Yeah, remember what he said?
80% VPIP
Hey,
on
we have to build the drama,
Do you
right?
remember what he said about the Friday game? That was his sit and go to get into the $1 million game.
That's strong. Well, I mean, he's a fan favorite, right? Like, it's like people are building up him versus one specific player we're going to talk about soon. But, yeah, I mean, 80+% VPIP on a Friday is really hard.
Highest VPIP we've ever had on a Friday. You were doing commentary.
Yeah,
what were you thinking when you saw that?
I didn't want to be in that game. I was just like, this guy's not going to lose a pot tonight. He's making every right decision. He's hitting everything.
But he went up a quarter of 250,000, right? And then went back down.
Yes.
Almost to nothing.
And then back
ran
up.
It back up to
well, I mean, you're not going to play 80% and have a little bit no variance.
You got to have some variance.
Yeah, you're going to have some
pretty
variance.
insane.
No, I mean, yeah. But the guy could take the swings, right?
Yeah.
It's like, it didn't affect him at all.
No. Emotionless.
Yeah, I wonder at what point during the night he was like, okay, I'm just going to go for the VPIP record.
Yeah.
Because at some point he was like, hey, like, maybe I should just break the record and just play everything. It was pretty. I mean, it was impressive.
The off switch is broken in his head.
Yeah.
It's just on, and there's no holding back.
Well, and we'll see if this changes anything. I know it won't, but this year, just so everybody understands, the blinds are 500, 1,000 with a 2,000 big blind ante.
Yeah.
This is going to raise the game. It's going to raise the stakes, meaning, of course, it raises stakes, but it's going to, I believe there's going to be a lot more blood this year, not only because of that, but because of the structure, but because of some of the players that are playing. Of course, just one straddle is 2,000. So on the table, you could have 5,500 before a card's even dealt.
Yeah,
Yeah.
so I want to ask Christian, because I know you're a professional poker player, you play high stakes. I know you do too.
No,
I'm
no,
just trying to
don't you
involve
worry.
him.
Let's just
I don't
not
want to
worry
get
about-
Nick upset. No, I want to know what changes the game with a big blind ante that's double the big blind.
Okay, so a couple things. Like, let's assume the straddle is not on first, right?
Right.
So it's just 500, 1,000 with a 2K big blind ante. First of all, the big blind pretty much has to defend like 70, 80% of hands now you're looking at, because that 2K big blind is just like, you have enough equity to just like flick in that call. So you're gonna see a lot of big blind defense. Further, what happens is if someone raises from EP, they're all getting a better price to call now as well. So it incentivizes people to actually like call instead of like 3-bet and stuff like that. Like if there's no ante, whatever, then you mostly play like 3-bet or fold. But when there's like antes, now all of a sudden like there's a lot of action behind that could just like flick in the call, flick in the call, flick in the call. Yeah, so I mean, you're just incentivized to VPIP at a much higher,
The dead
much
money
higher
brings
clip.
you in.
Yeah,
It's
that's
gonna
pretty
bring you
much.
in. There's just
yeah.
more to fight for.
And then add a straddle onto that.
Now you add the straddle. Ironically, it's sort of the straddle makes the game. You're actually supposed to play a little tighter now because, like, you have one more person to go through, and it's not as loose as like the 2K big blind ante.
He's talking about if you're playing at the win.
All right.
Not here at the Hustler.
right.
You know what I'm
Anyway.
saying? They don't give a shit.
Okay. Long story short.
Stop trying to give
the way-
our players
Well, you're stuck in the 10,
strategy
20,
tips.
40, brother, but let's go.
Okay. Long story
Don't limit
short.
players.
Long story short. It's gonna play pretty big.
Yeah.
And the straddle and ante is definitely gonna help
Luis,
get juiced up.
what's up, my man? Are you
Yeah,
all mic'd up?
You're mic'd up? Yeah, come on
Sure,
up.
sure. Sit down. Take a seat, you handsome
Good to
fuck.
see you,
how are
bro.
you?
Good
Yeah.
to see you.
Sit down, man. You guys
you.
should know the Brazil god here. He's never short of some action or words. By the way, they are all over my ass already trolling me, so feel free to jump in.
Oh,
It was one
that's
joke.
too easy. Right?
No, it's okay.
It's always
I'm
so easy.
joking around. So Texas Mike, we covered him. He is a 2-time WSOP bracelet winner, a 4-time circuit ring winner, and he's got 1.8 in tournament cashes.
So let me
Yeah,
tell
so
you
let's
what I
talk-
think is funny about that.
Okay.
1.8 million in tournament cashes. I don't know how many years that took, but one day would obliterate that
Yeah.
total in a cash game.
Yeah,
It's
he may
unfortunate
just
we
be
don't track
giving that back.
He's actually
Yeah.
been saving up all those for this
Yeah.
exact buy-in.
That's how he has the buy-in.
Yeah.
That's how he has the buy-in.
It's all on the line, yeah, obviously.
All right, who do you want to talk about next, Soto? I'll leave it
Okay,
up to
so
you.
we started with Texas Mike.
Can we do a prediction with Texas Mike?
Okay, sure.
Because I'd like to do a prediction with all the players.
Okay.
I like that.
All right, so I'm getting from the above. They want you to talk because you have a lot of experience with Texas Mike.
Yeah.
Why don't you tell us what you think of Texas Mike?
Yeah, we actually flew here together. So
Private or in coach?
Gulfstream?
in between,
I want to know
private and
how
coach.
much money he's got.
No, he's yeah. I mean, I play with him once or twice a week. You know, he lives in Chicago as well.
Why does he have a name Texas Mike if he's from Chicago?
He went to UT Austin. The question should be, why does he wear a Tennessee hat and it's called Texas? No, but
It's like
it's
a
a
box
Texas
of
hat.
chocolates.
It's a Texas hat.
I looked up his hat. I know it's a Texas
Yeah, it's
hat.
Texas.
People always mistake it as well.
Yeah.
Yeah. No, but he's, you know, if a spot is closed between call and raise, he's going to raise. If a spot is closed between give up or go for it, he's going to go for it. Actually, even if it's not close, if he sees you, if he knows that you don't have a nutted hand, he's going to make you pay.
I have a question for you. What do you think? Okay, so he's obviously a very smart individual, and he knows the game. What do you think? Do you think that sometimes the stakes are so beneath him, and he just enjoys that type of play? Where's he coming from with that? Is he just not enjoy poker unless he's experienced a lot of variance and seeing a lot of hands? What's the
He
purpose?
wants to know why the VPIP's over 80%.
Yeah. What is knowing him? What do you think it is?
Yeah. So it's weird because he's got like 2 gears. He's got like a degenerate gamble gear, and then he's got a competitive side where, you know, I tell him all the time, he's like a much better natural poker player than I am. You know, I can just like maybe execute a little bit better than him, but you know, and in tournaments, that's kind of where he brings out his competitive side. You know, like he really plays his hardest. He wants to go for the rings. I mean, he's got several Player of the Year bets. I mean, last year he famously challenged Phil Hellmuth to a $100K bracelet bet. You know, Phil declined. He didn't. You know, he doesn't do those kind of wagers, but. You know, so he's willing to challenge, you know, the best, and you know.
Have you ever seen him tilted?
You know, it's funny because I've seen him have 6 big blinds in a $400 circuit ring event, and actually just hold for 2 orbits straight, you know, and then I've seen him just light, you know, 20, 30K buy-ins in a cash game like it's like they're
nothing.
You know, like it's, you know, a tipping chip. Yeah, and so I think in cash games, a lot of times the gamble aspect comes out more. But when he's locked in, he's, you know, he's tough to deal with.
It sounds like he just loves the game, regardless.
Yeah, oh yeah, he loves the game.
Is it,
sure.
Okay, so let's talk a little bit about that last time you were playing with him, right?
Sure.
I was doing commentary. I remember that game. It was a night to remember.
Yeah, that was.
But is it a little disheartening, like when a player is like sitting here, he's 80% VPIP, picks up kings, and just like, just felts you, and you just have like, what is that?
It's, you know, it's so funny because in our home game we sit in the same spots. He always takes a 7, I take the 5, so I'm always getting fucked, right? Like he's just, you know, he's got the best seat in the house versus me. And, you know, like, it's, you know, I just look up, like, how's this even possible? And I kind of felt like, you know, that hand was a 3-way hand with me, him, and Luda. So it's like the 2 guys that can represent any 4. And to be fair, they can just have a 4. I think the board was King 4-4,
right?
XX.
I will.
And they will. So I bet the river thinking one of these 2 retards might shove. And then I saw the orange moron go all in. And I'm like, you know, the orange hat. And I'm like, oh, what a blessing. God, thank you. I started thanking God before it was my turn. And it's too early. But no, he's, you know, that's the thing. If he makes, I mean, in that spot, it's a little bit, you know, the hand's going to go in. But, you know, if he makes a value hand, he can. I mean, he can win a full buy-in. Yeah, he can win a full buy-in here.
Well, we know this. There's going to be blood. He's going to be part of it. And as he said in his tweet, it most likely and may be his own blood. But we're looking forward to it. Okay, so who do you want to talk about next, Soto? I'm going to let you pick. We're going to talk about them all, but there's no particular order.
Okay. Let's see. Let's go with Peter.
Yes.
Let's go.
Peter. Did we all watch last night?
No, please tell me.
Peter tried to bluff Raver with ace high.
I did
Raver
see that
called
hand.
with ace high and had the better ace high.
I saw that hand.
Peter
With a 9,
looks like he is willing to put it all on the line with the garbage.
Listen, Peter was in the Thursday game last night, which is a 10, 20, 40, 40, or whatever it is. And he's just there to have fun. He was playing like he was in the 100, 200, or 400, 800. The game went crazy, and it was fun. There was a lot of action between him and Sashimi and Brittany and Chris. Ludacris was in it. It was pretty. It was
yesterday
pretty
was the Monday game, not
the Max Payne Monday game. Yeah.
Did I say
Oh
Thursday?
God, I still have the
Whatever.
record for that.
Yeah, I don't ever know what.
Oh
day
yeah, I do. Yeah, I remember that.
Oh
So
yeah,
does
you broke
Peter-
a record in the Max Payne game, right? Like 70?
It was a lot of coolers. Yeah, I also.
You got the biggest
of
loss
coolers.
Max
Yeah.
Payne Monday?
Yeah, it was like 70. I don't know, 72,000 or
No, it's great.
72,000.
Mike and you both have records and just different things.
No, I got it. Yeah, I got. I want
Anyways.
the other records,
Yeah.
but anyway.
So anyways, yeah, correct. Max Payne Monday. I don't know what day it is. But Peter doesn't know English, but he understands all in. And
Oh,
he
he
said that
understands all
about
in.
45 times last night. So.
I think he just said no English because they were trying to get a read on him.
Yeah,
He was just like, no
probably.
English. I don't know.
I thought that was a well-timed pretending to not know English joke when Raver was going on a rant and he's like, no English.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's gonna be fun. I'm looking forward to him too.
Yeah, so he's special, and it's going to be fun, and he will be, him and Mike, I'm sure will have a good time. Let's talk about one of the legends that everyone wants back and was, of course, part of history last year, and that's Tom Dwan. And of course, everyone knows Tom Dwan. He changed the face of poker. You know, before Tom in high stakes poker with all those guys playing, the way poker was played, Tom Dwan came in and changed the face of poker with his style. And now we see so much more of that today. And it's because of Tom. And you know, he's part of history with the $3.2 million pot that he called with queens against Wesley's triple barrel. And what do you think of that hand? What do you think happened there? I know what I think happened there. Would you like me to say?
Go ahead.
I mean, but I'm asking first.
Oh, I mean, he had a bluff catcher with queens, and he decided to call.
Okay. I'm going to go a different route with it, and I'm going to say this. I think, and going off of Wesley's side, what I think happened last year is Wesley was taking an immense amount of heat for his a little bit snug play, if you will. He was taking it from the chat. He got into it with Huss, where they wanted to kill each other.
got into it?
Yeah, you were on the mic,
notice.
bro. He was on the mic. And I really think that played a part into it. And then when he showed Doug Polk his hand, which I think did not work in his
That
benefit.
changed the dynamic.
It changed the dynamic,
a little bit.
but I also think there might, I could be wrong, I don't want to speak for anyone. I also think there was this like, I'm going to show, like, Doug see my hand, I'm going to go for it. And it was
Doug's watching him lose his mind.
It was gutsy.
Well, it was after, I believe this was after Doug went for it himself. With
Yeah.
like 5-4 of
Suited.
spades,
Yeah.
and into Durr's like set of sevens that made a boat.
Yeah.
So then it's like, oh, like look, Doug, like I could do this too.
That's right.
Right. So it's sort of
Yeah, I think it was all those components. Thoughts?
No, I loved that hand. I loved that Doug could not reveal any facial expression. Watching Wesley lose his mind.
It's
And-
awkward.
And one thing that I really liked, and I know that Doug's not playing today, but there is something between Tom and Doug that is fun to watch. And the tanking, I swear, I don't know if Tom will admit to this or if he has. I swear Tom did it on purpose just to fuck with.
No,
with,
there is certainly a rivalry between Doug
yeah.
and Tom. Like there's some
No,
Yeah. Well,
little bit of bickering back in.
that over the years they've went at it pretty hard, and Doug was relentless on Tom on a lot of topics. And you know, tanking for 10, 15, 20 minutes or whatever it was in that hand, especially with a full house. Do you believe he was contemplating a raise, or do you believe?
Yeah, I mean he has a boat. Like,
Yeah,
he's
no.
certainly
But you
never
don't
gonna
think he
fold.
was tanking just to torture anyone?
No, I mean I think legitimately when you're sitting there with middle
Sure.
house, like he's thinking if I shove, like can I get called by worse?
Yeah.
And then
Yeah, of
but
course.
he's like, okay, well maybe I should just call. You know.
I think it was
etc.
20% that, 80% torture.
Torture.
I think Tom is not the guy who's going to verbally attack you at the table or threaten you or anything. Tom's going to put you in a torture chamber in a hand.
That's fair.
Yeah.
One of the best moments, though, actually from last year, and you were there as well, Veronica, is like when he came upstairs and we were all watching him win, like the biggest pots in like the ever played. He just like comes casually upstairs and like has a drink with us, and he's like, oh yeah, this is great.
Yeah, that's right.
Just like
it's
Oh,
another
this is
day in
where
the
I won
office.
$3.2 million.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm like, oh, it must be nice.
He's desensitized over the years.
Give me a $5 bear. Remember, that's all he
That's
wanted.
literally what happened.
Yeah, he
Let
just
me
wanted
ask
a beer.
production. Production, I know we were going to go in order on a couple of videos we want to run. Are you guys capable of running the one we're talking about now just because it makes sense? Okay, we'll come back to it. Okay, so he's going to be fun to watch. He's definitely a fan
And
favorite.
he's playing like almost every day, right?
Oh
He's
yeah.
playing every day. Is there anyone who's going to be buying in for more than $1 million?
Oh, that's a good question.
Because Wesley last year, I think, was the first person to buy in for $3 million.
Yeah, there has not been any declarations of that, but we shall see.
Here's a question. If Wesley had won that pot versus Tom, would he be here? Or completely irrelevant?
I tweeted about that. I
a
thought
good
Tom
question.
broke Wesley.
That's a very good question that's been asked many times, and you know, everyone has their own
I mean,
idea on that
Bitcoin is
answer.
back, so
Yeah.
Yeah, Wesley, Bitcoin's up. Why don't you come back?
where are you at?
70K, right?
Like, you know, that's a good. I mean, that's a good question. Like, these games are big enough that they sort of
one hand could change.
They
the
could
course
change the
of-
trajectory of your longevity in these spots, right? Like, it's, you know, look at, you know, not to throw like one of my good friends, I would say like Rampage. Like, if Rampage just like won $2 million in this game, like, probably be here right now. You know, like
yeah.
it changes everything.
Yeah, yeah. He's had an interesting year, but I think sometimes, you know, poker players have those type of years, and he's a young kid, and I think he was on a major sun run, and now.
No, that's what we're saying. Like, there are games throughout the year that change the course of the year. Like,
it does. Yeah.
where there are games that are just 4 or 5 times bigger than your average game, and it's like,
That's right.
It's like you run good in that one, that's a great spot. You know,
Yeah.
you run bad, it's like this is gonna hurt for a little bit.
Yeah.
You recoup.
Okay. So, any more on that from anyone before I move on? Okay, so we're gonna go to the next guy here. What is funny? We're gonna, well, you know, we gotta get moving. We're gonna go to the next player here, and I'm gonna come to you, Louise, in a second for it. But this is Hans. He's an impact investor. Does anyone know what that is?
Yes.
What is that?
He makes a lot of money.
It's
That's
basically when you try to change the course of a company. You buy so many shares that then you like try to
Hostile
change
takeover?
Yeah.
Okay, so Hans is a
I have
hostile
comments about
takeover
that.
investor.
Hostile takeover.
And he lost a $1.2 million pot to Keating on HCL about a year and a half ago. He got bluffed by Rampage, which we're going to show the clip in a minute, for over $1 million last year. And I'll tell you this, I think I said this last year when we were up there watching that hand. I've never seen a guy on HCL run into more tough decisions that literally are like really tough decisions for big amounts, and it never works out for this cat. And he's a great player.
He has heart, man.
So
Yeah.
you're talking about changing the dynamic of the game. He got bluffed for a massive amount by Rampage, folds a huge hand, and comes back for more this year. So nothing changes the dynamic for Hans.
Well, that gets
Hans
you
just
angry.
has infinite money now.
Yeah, he must. You know him.
Yeah, I know him
tell
pretty
us,
well.
Tell us what you know about him, the most interesting parts, what you think the viewers want to hear.
I had breakfast with him this morning, so I have a little insight on how he's feeling.
So you're flying in with Texas Mike. You're eating breakfast with
He's the agent.
Hans.
He's the
Yeah, the
agent.
agent.
What,
I'm
yeah,
the
what's
agent.
going
Is he
on?
the VIP?
What's going on?
Is that what this is?
He's
Are you
the agent.
Are you the
I'm the agent.
consigliere?
No, he's the agent. He's like,
All right,
he's
So
like,
he flew
okay,
in.
okay.
He got here this morning. He's like, I'm gonna rest and then crush him. No, jokes aside though, Hans is just, you know, to add to that description of someone that just gets put in the blender and like spots that happen to you like once every couple of years. You know, talk about a masterclass in handling yourself in every situation.
Absolutely.
I mean, just,
Oh, he's a
you
class
know,
act.
just, I mean, you know, he's kind of quiet. You know, he's kind of, you know, reserved, and he's like that, you know, kind of with everybody. But you know, the amount of like, you know, I'm not even in the hand, and I'm like, what the fuck? And he's like, he just takes it
moves
so
on.
well.
Because I can literally hear Airball going, steamy hands, steamy hands.
That's right. I mean, what bad timing.
It's like, oh my god.
Oh, we have steamy hands.
It's like, but he takes it on the chin and he's just like, yeah.
Yeah,
like,
just grins and bears it.
Yeah, and he has so much heart. Like, that bluff versus Keating is, like, people say they do that, but I haven't really seen people actually do that.
So the Rampage bluff I want to ask you about.
Yeah.
Is that a good fold most of the time? Run the simulation, not knowing your opponent's hand. Run the simulation 100 times. Is it a good fold?
It's probably 0 EV, to be honest.
Yeah, I think it's indifferent.
Yeah, it's probably just like an indifferent spot. Like Queen, like he's repping exactly Ace King, so like
Right.
it's almost one of those spots where like having Ace Queen might be better than having Queens. Ironically, even though Queens is like an actual better hand, but like you'd rather just like block his nut hand.
Yeah, I think it's really hard, you know, in that situation. Of course, you're going to the machine, the solver, it's indifferent. But with a player like Rampage, which we know had only, you know, a portion of his money in, but had to raise some of the money, and he was taking a big shot. I think that plays in a huge factor of like this kid's got.
Of course, it's still a people game.
It's a
At the
people
end of the
game,
day,
yeah.
it doesn't matter. Like, do you think Rampage is gonna run this bluff right now.
Right. No.
Like,
No.
Right.
you're just betting on the no.
Well, let's do this. We're gonna run that hand through right now. Production's gonna play it right now. Of course, we don't have access to see it, but they're gonna give me a little play-by-play in my ear. We're gonna talk about maybe each street or however we want to do it, and we'll break it down.
Make sure you get the
Steam, yeah.
Tell them that I'm going to sit out the rest of the stream, but I want them to keep the VPIP stat running for me.
It'll be the same.
Fuck you, Huck.
Well, again, I don't have my stats up, but
instead of not playing any hands over there.
one guy that is in the teams for VPIP is Wesley, for sure.
I'm just joking.
He tried to needle you, Wesley.
Yeah, it doesn't work.
Doesn't work, right? Never.
Doesn't work?
Yeah, never. Fish doesn't know.
Oh, Rampage here.
Never two, never work.
Ace-7 of clubs.
I think I've
Hand's
seen
just
Tilt.
gonna call with queen.
I mean, I watch a lot
When
of
I 5-bet with a
Gonna play a trap and gonna bring
60K,
Pav in
maybe
here. We
tilt.
don't see what he
Maybe
has.
tilt. I get 6-bet by 180K. That's tilt.
I was like screaming at
In
the
that game, you 5-bet 60K.
And how
In this
about-
game, you 3-bet 60K. Yeah,
Top set
very
here for
different game.
Hands,
So I 4-bet
who
75.
just flat called and he checks. And Pav here,
15,000.
open-ended
Wesley, very juicy player.
with King-8.
Yeah.
Hands super underrepped. And Rampage is gonna check raise here. This flop.
Yeah. He's not that player.
And Hands has got queen.
Big action.
Just with the flat call, pre.
1 of 1.
750K.
750K. Drinks bottle of scotch, 20K.
Rose gold interior.
Anytime you ask, what did you drink last night? I drank a bottle of scotch, it was 7K.
A glass.
Cool, okay.
We'll call.
Drinking Coronas and we feel in Boston. We're like, yeah.
Everyone's cheering, we can afford Corona.
Pav's out of there. I mean, Rampage could have ace, king, king, 9. I mean, he could have a lot of hands here. It's just a single raise pot. And a club comes off here on the turn. And Rampage picks up the nut flush draw. So nut flush draw, gutter to a king. Check raise the flop. As the pre-flop raiser.
At least I never slide. I don't need my queens, ace queen, ace king. Not like you, huh?
Leslie, you should come to Vegas and play with us. It's very, a lot of action.
175.
And here comes the overbet here. 175, and Hands is just so under-repped
What do
here.
you do? That's a good bluff.
I can't imagine how he's not going to continue.
That's definitely a good bluff.
You don't believe?
I mean, it's still better than your poker bluff, Carl. I believe you. I believe your parents own a hedge fund. Not true? You own the hedge fund? Your hedge fund?
But again, we're dealing with much wider ranges than what would be expected here because Hands just
I own
flatted
the hedge fund. Woo.
the big blind versus
I've
the
been 4
small
million
blind
right now,
open.
Yeah, I moved to Australia.
And there's a call, and this would be a disaster if a queen or a jack of clubs somehow rolled off the Rampage. The river here is a brick. And is Rampage going to go for it? There's absolutely no way that Rampage can know how strong. Hands all in! All in from Rampage. What heart. Unbelievable. 618,000 all in. For people that said that his stack might not be in play, he's answered that question. Holy smokes. Again, if you're coming into this hand in the middle, super unorthodox.
Yeah, he must hate me.
Blind versus blind, Hands just called pre-flop. And he's gonna fold, and Rampage gets it through. Oh Oh my God! Unbelievable!
We got a game!
Wow!
Steamy hands!
Hand of the weekend.
All right, we're back. What a hand. We got steamy hands. So we're going to go over each street. Christian, I'm going to go over it with you guys. You guys, I mean, pretty basic, but you can give us your thoughts. So, So Rampage opens from the small blind for 9K, I believe, right? And then we have hands who calls with queens in the big blind.
The middle blind, yeah.
The middle blind, okay? Not much to say there, right? Just.
I mean, there's a lot to say.
Right?
Yeah, I mean.
He's got to 3-bet that hand.
Yeah, that's almost going to be like a very, very high frequency 3-bet in that spot. Like almost probably pure, especially how wide the ranges are here.
Sure.
So that's a very unorthodox call.
Yeah, and I might play into the river too about the strength of his hand.
Yeah,
Right,
it could be.
It could be.
It could be. But it also, you know, Hands is probably thinking, you know, there's two reasons why he could probably call. Is one, maybe he thinks that Rampage would overfold to the 3-bet. Or he thinks that like the straddle is just gonna just take this spot a lot and 3-bet himself.
Right.
So it's actually like a pretty cool play to mix in there as well. Like you don't want to just always
No, you have
not
to have,
a
you
good
have
hand.
to have that. Yeah, that flat.
Yeah, it's I think
3-bet.
it's pretty cool to mix it in there for sure.
Cool. So the flop comes, and Pav donks out for 15K.
Wait, no, he can't donk out.
Yeah, check.
Yeah. So he's betting in position. Yeah. Okay.
He doesn't donk. Okay.
Yeah.
Thank you. Yeah, check, bets 15K, and Rampage pops it up to 50K, and hands calls.
Yeah, but it's a little unnatural though. So on the Queen Jack 10, it's kind of strange because Rampage really shouldn't be expecting too many people to bet flop for him because it's just not a good board for either of his opponents.
Right.
So it's a little unnatural for him to go for check raise there. Yeah. Like that's part of the reason why hands checks because it's like he's not supposed to be betting that board, right?
No.
It's just not a board. It's not his board.
Yeah. And
So it's a little unorthodox for Rampage to start his bluff through a check raise. Most people would start the bluff just through a bet. Right.
And what do you think hands thought of that?
I mean, I'm not sure.
Yeah.
It's a little I think he's thinking the same thing of well, this is a little weird for him to check raise here because most of the bluffs come through the betting line. So maybe he just thinks he's pretty nutted in this spot.
And I also think Hands knows he can't ever 3-bet this spot.
Yeah, no way.
He's just
handcuffed.
He's just handcuffed.
Yeah, he's coming along.
He's never folding in a better hand.
Yeah. He's never folding and he's never raising. He's just handcuffed to a call.
That's like Tom with the queens. He's
Yeah,
coming
he just
along for the ride.
You're coming along. Yeah. But yeah, it's such a weird hand on the flop, even just from the flop because
very unorthodox.
Yeah, it's just you don't really see a lot of check raise here coming in because the betting range of his opponents are just they're not betting often. Yeah. Okay, so we see the check raise and then hands calls and Pav obviously folds.
Yeah, Pav folds, and then so we get a turn and it gives the pot's 44K. It gives Rampage a flush draw. Rampage comes right out and overbets 175K. Into 144K, excuse me. He bets 175K into 144, so a big overbet on the turn. And of course, hands makes the call. We know that. What do you think of that overbet? And do you think hands is just throwing up, putting it in?
Yeah, I think turn. What's weird about the turn overbet is hands actually still beats a little bit of value. He still beats jacks, which. He could still have. You don't really expect.
His hand is underplayed with the just flatting preflop too.
That's why he's still beating a little bit of value. He still beats jacks. He still beats tens, which Rampage could sometimes have because he's not expecting his opponents to have too much ace king or king nine suited or whatever. Yeah, I mean, there's nowhere he can go. He beats a little bit of value. He still beats some bluffs, but I think now hands is probably thinking that his opponent is not bluffing a lot.
Yeah. So we go to the river. It's a blank. I believe the pot's around 500K. Do I have that right? Yeah, about 500K, and Rampage jams 600K into 500K, and there we have Hands sitting with another big decision on HCL that is perplexing.
Yeah.
And I just like we said earlier, I mean, it's so tough because like how is this kid just putting in all of his money with a bluff on a big stage like this when we know, I mean, look, we can talk straight here. If this is Peter, different story. Peter's, you know, a billionaire. Rampage is not, and so this is a big move. I mean, obviously he's got balls of steel, but what do you think? What do you guys think? What's everyone think?
Yeah, I mean, obviously I've never played a game of this magnitude, but let's say I was playing 50, 100, and some, you know, kid that's taking a shot from 5'10" is sitting here and doing this.
Right.
I'm folding.
Yeah, it's fold, right?
Yeah, just fold. I'm like, all right, well, no way this kid's bluffing, right?
At 50-100, it'd be like him jamming 60K into 50, and you're like,
So
what?
you said the river is a blank, and I'm assuming he's thinking some river cards he's going to fold, some river cards he's automatic calling. Was it just the bet sizing that made him fold?
I think that Rampage only has that one bet size. If he's gonna bet, it's all in.
Yeah.
So it's a pot size. It's like a little bit of pot size, almost pot. A little bit.
To your
I'm confused
question,
with the fold on
Yeah,
the river,
so-
considering he went that far, and it was a blank river card. You said.
well, when we say blank, it's a blank.
I mean, it didn't. The flush didn't come. Right?
Yeah, so he missed his flush, so it's a blank to Rampage. And Hands is looking at a board where, you know, he's got top pair, and his pair is bigger than the board, anything on the board. And I think it just comes to play, like we got a 500K pot. I think if Rampage bets, you know, 250, you know, maybe, or 300. I don't know, maybe Hands makes the call. I don't know. I don't know if that makes a big difference, but I think it just comes back to how is this kid putting in 800,000 or 900, whatever it was that he had at the time. But see, it doesn't make sense either, because even with aces or kings, like,
no, but he's not repping.
Rampage doesn't have aces or kings.
no,
Yeah.
right.
His
So
hand's
what's
very
he repping?
underrepped.
He's repping ace king, king nine.
Yeah.
But like mostly ace king,
Yeah.
specifically ace
He's
king.
just repping the ace king. Period.
Yeah, that's what he's. That's what.
Yeah.
Yeah, but Rampage believes he's the only one that can have ace king here.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
That's not actually true in
Right.
this exact spot, because
That's
Hands
not,
could
right.
certainly have ace king.
Yeah.
But Rampage could never know that, right?
Right.
So, in Hands' spot, Hands is thinking, okay, I have ace king here.
Yeah.
Sometimes, I have king nine here. Sometimes.
Mm-hmm.
I have better hands to call, right? So queens is actually not a good hand to call there. He'd rather have. This is sick, but like he'd rather have king queen. I think king queen is a better call. You unblock all of Rampage's like ace 4, ace 5, ace 3 that's just like YOLOing it off. Yeah, you still block ace king, and it's like it's actually a better call. I think Hands is like probably good enough that like with king queen he might make the call, and with top set he might make the fold. Like he's an impact investor. It's like, it's like the guy's a fucking wizard, man.
Yeah.
Hands can have 8-9 too.
He could have
just
8-9.
flop a straight himself.
8-9, king 9. And he has a little bit of ace king in there too, because he has queens, so he could certainly have ace
Well,
king.
Rampage pulled the hostile takeover of Hands' queen, so
There you go.
touche. You know.
Yeah, I mean, but I actually think Hands is a really good player. Dude.
He's a great player.
I've seen him play
probably why he
enough
can make
where
the
I'm just
fold.
like, oh man, like
Yeah, he's a good
he's
player.
secret. He's like secret good at poker.
Yeah, it's just tough.
for him, though.
It's just tough because, like I said, I commentated the first time he played, I think. I couldn't believe the spots he got into. I think they were with Ben a couple times, too. And it just was insane. But here's the reality. The reality is Hands folded. Rampage, it was one of the most exciting hands of last year's Millie games. And he's not here this year. That's about the takeaway.
Well, Hands, if there's any
But
consolation
Hands
to
is.
you.
But there's the thing, like you see Hands, you see him make that fold, and like the fans are gonna be like, oh, Hands is pussy. Hands is like he's not. Like he'll really
No,
go.
he's definitely not.
He'll launch it on you, like for
No,
real,
for real,
all
yeah.
the money. So he's not scared.
Yeah.
Hands still got a consolidation prize because Rampage dusted off everything, and he's not here today.
Oh my God, that's gonna be the story of the.
I didn't say it. I didn't say
God,
it.
dude.
I got in trouble with
I had to
others.
say it. I'm sorry.
No, I'm looking forward to watching Hans play.
Yeah.
He's one of my favorite people to
Yeah,
watch.
I wish him luck this
me
year
too.
too. I really want to see him do well. Okay, so let's move on to and I don't know anything about this guy, so one of you guys take it. Steve
Steve the father?
the
Oh, I know
father.
Steve.
You're
He
talking
put-
about the Father, the Son, and the
Luis.
Holy Spirit?
Luis,
in our
you know,
home.
No,
you know about
Steve
this
is
guy.
the father of his children.
He also plays in our Chicago game. He's a Chicago native, or lives in Chicago at least.
But is his name Texas Steve?
No, his name, we call him Judge because he's a judge. That's his occupation. He's, I would say, much different than Hans, the Texas Mike. He's typically kind of straightforward. He's kind of tight. He's conservative.
He does a little min bet.
Yeah, one of his things is, because he plays good hands and his little min bet induces people, like sometimes he's had some huge pots that he's been a part of just because people have fallen for the min bet.
They spaz out with the min bet.
Yeah. And so I wouldn't classify him as a big bluffer or anything. Sometimes like his bluffs are just like kind of whenever he feels it, like, okay, they're walking all over me, I'm going to just go for it randomly.
Luis, how do you think he'll do in a game like this with a bunch of maniacs? How do you think he'll fare?
I actually think he'll fare okay.
Yeah, that's actually a good spot. You're just chilling. Yeah, he's just chilling.
And he doesn't get too caught up in things. Like he doesn't, like, a lot of guys with kind of his playing style, they kind of think to themselves like, okay, they start to like panic or they start to tilt if they have like an overpair and some guy rivers 2 pair and now they kind of panic. He doesn't really panic like that, so I think he'll do just fine. It's gonna be a matter of like his weakness, I would say, is because he just naturally has stronger hands than his opponents and he thinks his opponents are up to no good. Sometimes he can be a little sticky.
Yeah. He's playing off his own image with the other player.
Yeah. Right. So he's very aware of his image.
Yeah, got it. Okay, cool. Does anyone know anything about the next player? And that is a gentleman named Charlie Hook. If not, I have notes on him.
He's a mystery to me.
Yeah, same.
He's like he's just like I've heard the folklore of this person.
Yeah,
I don't know anything. All I hear is just like this person. He's been around.
I was going to say, this guy probably knows him. He's probably from Chicago. They probably played a private game together.
Did you have brunch with him today after your breakfast?
I had brunch with him today.
Dinner last night?
Well, anyways, Charlie, what it says here, he played some of the biggest games online while playing basketball in Philly. He lives in Houston, so I don't know if he's Texas, Charlie, or Houston Charlie, or whatever. But after Black Friday, he's been playing 20 years live poker right after Black Friday, and apparently he does very well.
So is Hook his actual last name, or is that his poker name where he hooks you in? Or jacks are his favorite card?
But yeah, no, like to me, he's like an enigma. I'm always super intrigued with like people that like
first time coming to play $1 million cash game?
but they've like been around, but you never heard of them.
Yeah.
And, like those people are really interesting to me because like, where you been at? Like, the poker world is kind of small the higher you go, so like staying low key like that to me is really interesting.
How do you just come into a $1 million cash game?
Because the game's good. You're just like, hey.
Why not start off with a little Max Payne Monday, get yourself warmed up?
This guy's not a Max Payne Monday guy.
It's play a Friday game.
If you play, what happens is like if you usually play bigger and you go to Max Payne Monday, you end up like having the biggest losing games of your life.
Yeah. Stop. No, it's a tough game.
I all looked at you so fast.
I was playing well.
Folks, we have record breaker in our midst.
Don't worry, we all have a
I really respect your game though.
I appreciate it. Thank you guys. I got cooler.
Yeah, I only remember you telling me one. So.
I got cooler.
No, but to me that's super interesting having a person like that. It's just fun because don't know anything.
Okay.
Just an enigma. I like that.
Okay, so last but not least, one of my favorites. He's becoming my favorite, so not only on the felt but off the felt. Action Dan. Action Dan's from Canada, and he's an internet entrepreneur, and obviously he's a poker player. But I'll tell you this: this is my bit, and then you guys do the rest. Of course, you love watching him play. I hate to say this, kind of Garrett-esque. Is that how you say it? Like he knows how to play really well. He's a very intelligent player, but he's very active and he knows how to pick his spots. So he's very dangerous. And but the one thing I love about him is on and off the felt, and especially off, he's the nicest guy. Every time I meet him and talk to him more, he's like one of the most humble, nicest guys I've ever met. He's one of my favorites. What do you guys also know or think about Dan?
I want to see this Dan versus Texas Mike matchup.
Yeah.
That's what I want to see. That's a
big one.
I do commentary as a fan. Like, I'm there like, let's see it. I want to see this, like, all this talk of, like, action Dan. Like, Texas Mike, he ain't gonna fold. Like,
well, yeah. Do you think Action Dan will make some adjustments since we're playing at these blinds with these kind of players?
Good question.
Because usually Dan's the player.
this is the thing.
Now
like,
he's
these
with
games,
other players that will play.
It really is gonna depend. And look, I don't know his situation. I don't know him at all. Like, I know him from poker. It really gonna depend on, like, how much risk tolerance he's willing to put up. Like, this is a huge game. I don't know. Does he have 20 million behind him, or does he have 5?
That's the question
like,
we don't know, yeah.
Yeah, so it's a big difference. Maybe, but like some people are just like sick enough, you know. So it really depends. I don't know.
I think a lot for a game like this is the seat draw.
That too.
I mean, you know, that can play a huge difference in how people play their hands, especially when you got, like, you know, hands will go after any pot. Dan, you know, I don't know Dan on a personal basis, but I've seen some of the highlights, and he goes after pots. And Texas Mike is, well, I mean.
Yeah. He doesn't need introduction.
No.
But yeah, I would love to see a seat draw where they're just like even, where it's just like 7 and 4
and 1,
like and 1, like it's like 7-4-2. Like that would be great. Yeah. I don't want to see them like 1-2. Like I don't want to see them lined up here.
Hey guys, production, can we go 7-4-2? Can we
Let's set it up
right here? We're gonna go 7-4-2
because you guys play in these high stakes games. What the typical adjustment they say when someone has a crazy high VPIP is tighten up. Does that work in this type of game?
No, I mean you should just 3-bet the shit out of them. Like,
right. So your VPIP should be going up then.
Well, the
$700 million
the threshold of value goes down versus someone that's just like playing so many hands. Like all of a sudden, like 10s can certainly get in a huge pot.
Right.
Like whereas like if you're playing a standard game, like getting in 10s, like not going to perform that well versus your opponent.
Well, and there's a 2K ante every hand, so you know, tightening up is great. But the problem is every orbit that you don't play, that's 25K. You know, or, you know, not that much, but almost 20K and yeah, so.
No, way less. 500,
it's
1K,
8 players,
2K.
right?
Today's 7.
Yeah, but it's big blind 2K.
We know what you mean.
Okay. So it's like 15K.
It's still a considerable amount.
Yeah, it's a big blind ante, but
7.
either way,
no, but they're not all putting it in.
So
like my mom used to say, you're both right. Now go to your room.
Yeah.
Okay.
All right. So we've got the 2,000 big blind.
Oh,
ante,
you're right. They're not all putting it in.
And we've got a couple maniacs on the table. So what's the adjustment?
You fight to the death.
You fight.
The dealer is the adjustment. You get the dealer to deal you some good cards.
Yeah. Investigation. So, all right, before we get to predictions and questions and answers, here's the question I have for production, and maybe production can let us know what the chat thinks. We have 2 more hands that we can run. Do we want to run them both up there, or do we want to run just one of them? What are we looking at?
I like the banter we have.
Okay, and then we'll move on to the other stuff, right?
I banter with you so well, Christian. I miss you.
Okay. All right, so what we're going to do now is we're going to run back the record-breaking $3.2 million pot that we had last year right here at this table, and let's run it. Let's take a look at it, and then we'll break it down.
Saw someone's hand?
7.
I saw Wesley's hand.
Got 5,000 player then.
Fine. You're gonna fold, right? I haven't looked at my hand. I know what you have.
It's a weird spot.
30.
I'm just gonna.
Well, if you're gonna play, then
I fold. Just I'm.
Oh, switch.
You already did.
What you have. I know what you have.
Seen it already.
What?
sorry.
30 to go right now.
Yep.
Only one.
I know. You know what?
Accidentally, yeah.
Thank you. You make a good point. You make a good point.
I don't think he understands.
He doesn't.
So raise from Hank, a 3-bet from Wesley.
How funny would it be if Doug's like, I know Wesley's hand, and then he's like, I haven't looked, and he just mucks.
That would be really.
Don't know what Dwan has, but Dwan, who just got bluffed, is going to 4-bet.
You're paying 42K.
Robert, do you have the yellow card?
Never lost it.
How about Rob?
Be nice.
Rob, do you have a button?
No.
Do you have one?
No. Okay. No.
Oh, 3 people left.
The camera?
Now this hand is weird for a couple of reasons. One, we're playing stand-up game. Two, the whole thing with Doug Polk saying, I saw your hand. So a 3-bet from Wesley to 30,000. Tom Dwan, who according to DGAF earlier has been playing a pretty low variant style, has decided to 4-bet to 100,000, and these players are deep. And Doug is watching because he knows what Wesley has, and Wesley has just 5-bet to 275,000. Action back over to Dwan. $387,000 in the pot. It's 175 for Dwan to call. Again, we don't know what Dwan has.
Small blind takes like a minute and a half. Limps. Big blind takes a minute and a half.
Min raises.
The hand plays the same way to the river. River, finally the guy bets. Small blind bets. Big guy uses like 2 time chips. Calls top pair of pot. It was just like, I'm just like, no, I'm not coming. I'm not playing any more tournament play.
I thought those come to London because I've got my 200,000 tournament. Are they invitational only?
I thought those come to shot clocks now, though. Yeah, they were using their shot clocks.
The point was, even with the shot clock,
they know
were just
exactly
like
the maximum
brutalizing.
amount of time they were going to use.
I need all these.
Oh, they're like max.
What is it?
Dwan on the left side of your screen, Wesley on the right side.
Invitational. Businessman and pro. $250,000 buy-in. 1 re-entry allowed.
Pounds?
£2,000 or 250,000.
And there's the call from Dwan. If you're not watching, come back to your screen right now. Over $500,000 in the pot. We haven't seen a flop yet.
Well, the million was a reaction too, wasn't it? No. I played a million.
8-8-3, 2 diamonds out there. Wesley does have the ace of diamonds.
Yeah, we play separate day one. A businessman can invite a pro. Normally a pro will offer like a 5% free roll or something. That's on deal. So it's all pros and businessmen. You paid £1 million. I paid £1 million.
But I mean, starting everyone.
Dwan started the hand with about 1.5 million. Wesley has him covered.
No, look at Cyprus. It was all Rex in the final.
Yeah.
Oh, you know what they should do?
Oh,
they should just.
If that's the banker pros are in there.
Rex.
Those guys are good.
Never leave the poker room.
You know what they should do? They should just play like businessmen and amateurs, and pros separately, all the way down to final table each, and then combined at like 2 tables and redraw and they play it out.
Maybe they can play them longer, yeah.
Hey, I think guys, this is a really big pot. I don't know.
Yeah, sorry.
About 125.
Wesley just asked Dwan how much he had behind, and that got the whole table quiet. Wesley bets 125,000. Whatever Dwan called with pre-flop, I can't imagine him folding on an 8-8-3 board to a $125,000 bet.
125?
125.
That's what he bet?
That is the bet.
There's the call from Dwan. Pot now, 812,000. Dwan with about 1.1 million behind. Turn a blank.
Check.
Wesley's hands are shaking. And it looks like he is loading up for another bet. Remember, Doug Polk knows what Wesley has. Tom Dwan, though, does not. $350,000 over to Dwan. Pot has got 1.2 million in it. The table has not been this quiet for 4 days. 1.2 million in there already. If Dwan calls this, we'll have one of the biggest pots we've ever seen, and still a river to come. And there's the call. The river's a 6. Wesley with just ace high.
Check.
Dwan checks it one more time.
All in.
There's the all in.
He said all in?
He said all in.
For sure? Look at this.
Said on.
Yes. Okay. I'm gonna get a water.
Pot has got 2.3 million in there. Wesley is just triple barreled with ace king.
What the fuck? Doug saw his hand. Oh. This is a weird fucking hand. Doug saw his hand, tried to talk him out of 3-betting. He 3-bet anyway. I mean, I guess he just flopped an 8, but it seems very hard to fold. Oh.
we stopped that clip because we know Tom tanked for a long time. We didn't want you to sit through that. We couldn't fast forward it, but we all know he calls. We all know that Wesley lifts his head up and says, did he call? Found out the bad news that he did. And we're going to walk through the hand. But by the way, if you haven't seen that hand, you watched history. We broke a record last year. We plan on breaking one this year. We got our fingers crossed, and we have the right lineup. So with that said, let's start out. So guys, we'll just be speaking to all of you, whoever wants to jump in. I'm gonna tell you what the action is. We'll talk about it. Thoughts, anything else? Okay, so this legendary hand starts out with LSG Hank from the hijack opening the pot to 7K. Wesley immediately 3-bets from the button with Ace King off for 30K, and Tom 4-bets to 100K. So pre-flop, the pot's pretty big as we see it, and we all know, and you saw that Doug saw Wesley's hand, and then Wesley wanted to show it to him again, and Doug says, okay, yep, that's it. And then we go from there, which a lot of people have their opinions on how
Can we talk
much.
about that?
Yeah, let's talk about it.
Because if I'm Doug and I see his hands, I say nothing, and I just freeze my face. I don't.
I actually think Doug did a pretty good job of that.
I do too.
But
yeah.
no. But would you even say? Because I would say after the hand, like, hey, just to let you know, I saw your cards. Don't lift them up that high next time.
No, I think.
I think Wesley showed up.
Yeah, he wanted to share.
After he said he saw them.
Oh no, I think they were like friendly. It was a friendly show. Like,
yeah, I think it was a sweat. He gave the cards to
he
sweat.
accidentally saw.
No.
And shit. Okay, so
it was just like, sweat my hand.
Yeah, sweat my hand.
Oh
yeah.
God.
Yeah, it's uncomfortable. yeah, it's uncomfortable. But Doug did a really good job. Doug was just like,
he did a good
I would
job.
have left the room.
He was stone cold. Part I didn't get to, but we'll say pre-flop is then Wesley decides to 5-bet from the button to 275K. I think it's a little ambitious. What do you guys think?
It's the right hand to do it.
He's bluffing, obviously.
Yeah, he's bluffing, but like it's the right hand.
Do most people you think know that watch that's a bluff? Because a lot of people may not understand that that's actually a bluff.
Most people don't play 1,000 big blind.
Yeah, it's a really you're super deep. You're just like blocking the best hands.
Yeah.
So it's certainly a bluff. Yeah, I mean it also puts queens in a very uncomfortable spot, right? Like when you cold 4-bet queens, you really don't want to see the 5-bet.
No.
No, for sure.
You don't mind the fold and you don't mind the call, but you don't want to see another raise.
No, that makes you want to throw up.
Yeah, so I think pre-flop everything's like relatively standard up until the 5-bet, and then once the 5-bet comes in, like he could certainly play call or 5-bet. I think 5-bet's probably playing like lower frequency there, but I also don't know. It's 1,000 PB. Like
that's the case. Yeah. So we go to a flop. The flop's 8-8-3, 2 diamonds.
Calling isn't always standard either. Like you can certainly muck your hand to the 5-bet.
Yeah.
But so it's like.
So what is the 5-betting range typically in these kinds of? Again, like I'm normally playing 100 big blinds, so 5-bet is typically
literally
tough, right?
Kings,
so you got
king.
aces, kings.
It's not even kings that much.
No,
it's mostly going to be aces,
50-50
ace king, and ace 5. Like that's it.
Yeah.
Like not
so
kings.
Then Tom can easily or call a little more easily, narrowing down his range to that.
Yeah, but it's like not all of those hands are full frequency. So it's like ace king off doesn't always do it. Ace 5 doesn't always do it. So they're all like sprinkles of frequencies, and it's like.
If it wasn't Wesley, if it was maybe someone else at the table, does Tom potentially fold, do you think?
I don't think
Because
Tom
Wesley's known to be a maniac, right?
No, but not that day.
Not that
Tom's
week.
not a
He
big
was taking
folder.
a lot of heat.
Tom's not known for folding.
Not folding queens. Like maybe he folds 10s.
Yeah. And for those watching, what Christian is talking about is if you go to the 5-bet chart in
but those won't even exist.
No, it doesn't.
For 1,000 big blinds.
Correct. But like you said, most people would not understand that kings literally is indifferent. It's mostly it could go either way. And ace king suited, like you said, ace 5, aces. That's what the charts say. But again, like there's so much other stuff going on. And
there's at the end of the day, like you're still playing. What is Wesley doing?
That's right.
Right, like.
Yeah.
And if he thinks he has a little bit too much ace-king in there, a little bit too much maybe ace-5, maybe he throws in some ace-4, who knows, like then...
Yeah.
Balancing that 5-bet range.
So if you're watching, the takeaway is you need to know what that chart says if you really want to play at a high level. But then at the same time, that's all you got to know is just know what it is and then move on, come to game speed. Who's the player? Are they winning? Are they losing? What's the meta? And then you're still fucked because this game is so complicated.
And at the end of the day, the dealer's going to decide.
Yeah.
The meta is an insane asylum, Nick. That's what the meta is in this game.
Yeah, I don't know. I mean, it's certainly both spots are tough.
Tough.
Yeah, because when you face the 5-bet,
when I watched that hand, I wanted to puke being both of them. Just watching it, you know, it was just so intense.
Yeah, I'd rather be in Wesley's spot.
And that's the hand.
Yeah.
That's the hand where we didn't see Tom 10 until the end, right?
Till almost the end.
That made it really interesting.
That made it better. That faux pas, the graphics made it a lot better. That was really fun.
Okay, so Tom calls. And we
So
see a
Tom
flop.
calls. We see a flop. The flop's 562K. Comes 883, 2 diamonds. Wesley bets right out. 125K. Tom calls.
Yeah, I mean, obviously a really good board for Wesley. Like, there's no queen, no jack. Very good. So he's certainly betting everything every single time.
Yeah.
And I don't think that the hand begins yet until the turn. Like, it's just like going to be like standard check,
it's a
small
standard
bet call.
small bet call.
Yeah, and then we're going to see a turn. And they're both fading certain cards. Like, Tom doesn't want to see an ace, for sure. And Wesley wants the board either to come an ace, and if it doesn't come that, he certainly doesn't want to see any queens or jacks roll off the deck.
That's right.
So just low or very high.
And he got what he asked for, right? Because or what he wanted, because the pot's 812K, the turn's a 5, diamonds miss, and so Wesley, on the button, it checks through to Wesley. Wesley basically puts Tom all in. Excuse me here. Wesley bets 350 on the turn, and then Tom calls.
Yeah, I mean, it's fine still. Like, yeah.
Can I ask, what did Tom start with in the hand?
Yeah.
Because Wesley had about $3 million behind
He started with, into the river, he had 786K left. So if you take calling the flop in the turn, you could do the math. So
they each had like $1.5 million.
Yeah.
Okay.
I think this hand's playing like pretty standard in terms of sizings.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, Wesley's playing this hand pretty well. Like, it's fine.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, Wes bets out. Tom calls. We go to a river. River's a 6. It's a blank. The diamonds miss here, not in the turn. And the pot's $1.5 million at this point. And Wesley decides to put Tom all in for the rest of his chips at $786,000.
Yeah, half pot.
Yeah.
I like it.
Yeah, I mean, it's a well-played hand by Wesley. Like, honestly, like, very well played. And, like, that takes a lot of guts. And
agreed.
And
I think
major props.
Yeah, I mean, he actually has like one of the best hands to do it. He blocks all the traps, right? Like, Durr should have aces and kings trapping here to the 5-bet. I don't think Durr's gonna have a 6-bet range, so he's probably still has all the aces and kings in his range. Blocking those is important.
Yeah.
Does Wesley have a diamond? Having a diamond is a little bad.
I don't know.
It doesn't matter that much.
Does Wesley have a diamond?
It's a 5-bet pot.
Yeah.
Not a lot of flushes.
He does.
He does have a diamond. So I guess if you're gonna run it with having because like you'd rather Durr have like ace queen suited that like peels the flop and then peels the turn and then folds the river. So if you're gonna pick an ace king to run it with, it's probably the ace king with not the ace of diamonds. Of
course.
But
ace king already beats ace queen anyway.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah. But he's not going to check ace king either way.
No.
So it's like if he's going to run that bluff, it's probably the best one not to. It's nice to get an immediate fold from something. But
nothing he beats though.
Nothing he beats.
And then of course Tom, after an excruciating tank, Probably wanted to puke 20 times. Probably not. He's so used to this. He's probably
No,
so
I have a different read on that.
You think so? You think he was sick?
I think he wanted to put Wesley in the blender.
Yeah.
Nah.
That's
a horrible spot.
That's
really?
a horrible spot.
I think Tom was gonna call. He just.
No, that's a it's. Okay.
I feel like Tom likes
It's
to torture
nasty.
people.
Baby, it's nasty.
That's a tough
my read.
spot.
Baby, it's nasty.
It's so nasty.
Yeah, can you imagine being at the river and being like, oh, I have the nuts here. I'm going to torture them. It's like,
See, I do think
Tom does that.
I agree with you. On the other hand, I think Tom did have a little torture chamber in there for
He
Doug.
was doing it to Doug all
And
night.
that's different, and it's a different hand.
It is
for
different, but I think Tom likes to torture people.
Having a full house in that size pot versus having just queens in a $3.2 million pot is, I think, just a tad different. But to your point, who knows, right? This is all subjective. That's why
Tom's
we're
been
here.
doing this for so long. I bet you he plays in games this big. I mean, I asked him if he wins pots like this on a regular basis. He laughed at me, but he has played like this.
No, he's played the biggest games that have ever existed in the
He's
world,
been there before, of
especially in like the games that he was rumored to be in Macau. So, I mean, but it's still a big pot. Like, I mean, there's not an everyday pot. Like, he's not just like strolling around Santa Monica.
It was that was tough putting those chips in. I believe, no matter who you are. But again, whatever. We're here.
To be fair, he did get a dream run out for queens, though.
Yeah.
That's like the best possible run out ever for queens. Besides a queen on the flop, but
to call, you have to think that Wesley's over bluffing, which I think, ironically, I think he might be.
Yeah. Considering
relative to other people.
Relative to other people.
Yeah.
Because like I still think that ace of diamonds is important.
Yeah.
Like because Dirt also still has ace king of diamonds, pure, that call folds. So like that ace of diamond, you probably just run it with the other combos that don't have it.
Yeah.
For the last bet.
Yeah.
But like
definitely more.
I don't know. I'm just winging it in my head.
Totally,
so like,
bro. Like we could, yeah, of course.
Well,
That's
the
why
thing
it's
is,
always
he
easy
gets
on the
ace
sideline.
king to fold also on the river when
that's
he
what I'm
shoves.
saying.
Just all ace king,
Yeah, but especially, I don't know if Tom calls the turn with ace king off though. I think it might be only like specific ace kings.
Maybe.
So if that was your last 786,000, what would you do? Would you call?
No, I mean, I would. I mean, that's the thing. Like, I've never played a game this big, so like, end of the day, it comes down to it's still such a people game.
Yeah.
Like,
agreed.
Like, Hands folds a set because he thinks that Rampage is not gonna bluff there.
Yes.
Wesley calls because he thinks. I'm sorry. Wesley bets because he thinks Tom might fold queens, but he thinks that he's over bluffing, so he calls. It's like that's what makes the game so interesting. It's like like these machines are all just kind of like it doesn't fucking matter. End of the day, it's who is this guy?
Yeah, that's what a lot of players that are up and coming. They're very, very, very chart oriented, and if that's all you're hanging your hat on, you're dust.
You're gonna get a little chewed
You're
up
dust
when
in the bigger games for sure.
at 1,000 BB. Like
Yeah, you're dust at 1,000 big blinds. Yeah. All right. So you guys watched history once again. If you haven't seen it, you watched it for the first time. We plan on making a little more history this year, but we'll see what happens. Let's do a couple of predictions. We'll go around the table here. Who do you guys pick today as the biggest winner?
I have no. Let
ladies
Texas
first.
Mike, my guy, Texas Mike.
Texas
He's gonna
Mike.
slaughter the table today.
Slaughtering by Texas Mike. Luis.
I'm gonna be on Veronica's team and choose Texas Mike, followed by Hands.
I have Hands.
I'm gonna go.
I have Hands.
I'm gonna go
Hands
with
is a
Hands
solid
too
choice,
for
though.
2 reasons. I think he's one of the most solid players. He's a lot better than people maybe have seen him on our show because people are very results oriented that watch. And I just want him to do good once.
The only reason is because it's like an old adage. Like, he's due.
He's due.
The due theory. I was about to
It's
say
the
that.
due theory.
He's due.
He's just due.
Does that work in poker? Because I'm due.
You're due
I've been
too.
due. I've been due for a while. When does that come due?
He's due.
Yeah,
Yeah, no, I
You're
have
overdue.
Yeah.
I have Hands, but honestly,
You're overdone.
Yeah, I'm already.
You're toasted already.
it's gonna depend a lot. Like, who has position on who in this game is gonna depend a lot. Like your EV goes up and down on these seat draws today for sure.
Yeah.
So it's like
100%.
that we need the equal seat draw. Okay, let's rig it a little bit.
Guys, we need
Let's-
we need
let's-
274.
I'll just
274.
draw for
Yeah,
everybody.
274.
Let's
274,
talk
guys.
about biggest pot of the night. What are we
Look, I
predicting?
mean,
I'm gonna go Action Dan,
Action Dan Texas Mike has to be a favorite.
Yeah.
What's the amount? That's what
Amount.
we're looking for. What's the biggest
Amount?
pot
I mean,
amount? This
I'm gonna go
today,
1.5.
Today.
Today, I'm gonna take the over. I think an over $2 million pot today.
Wow.
Well, it's Texas Mike and Action Dan.
I'm gonna set the line at 1.5.
I'm gonna take the over.
Take the over.
Strong over. A strong
Wow.
No,
Yeah.
I don't think it's an over. It's hard.
Listen
hard,
to you
right?
guys. You guys show no love to Action Dan and Texas Mike.
The dealer has to help too.
We're not doing practice here. We're doing a game. This is a
1.5
game.
is a big pot.
That's a big pot.
I mean,
Yeah, but
really-
keep in mind the straddles are going to be on too.
that's
so.
the key. The key is, does the straddle go on? Because
The straddle
with
goes
no
on.
straddle, then it doesn't happen. It's just too many bigs. But I think the straddle goes on. I think
Or stand-up game. If the stand-up game is on.
stand-up game would be insane.
They're
Or
gonna
the-
play. You don't think
So-
they'll play the stand-up game?
That
That'll be
being said, are
interesting.
you taking the under or the over?
It's a good line.
It's a good line.
It's a great line.
It's a good line. I'm gonna take the over because it's.
Oh my
Let's
God.
go. Let's
Nick,
go.
what do
You
you
gotta
think?
take the under now.
Oh, me?
Yeah. What are you taking?
I think the biggest pot's gonna be around 1.8.
Okay,
was
so
thinking
all
the
right,
over.
so,
it's the
maybe
over.
the line is too low.
Yeah.
Okay.
Now, with that said, we talked about the stand-up game. I didn't have it here, but it's a good question. What do you think it'll be? 5,000, 10,000? What do you think the stand-up game
5x the
bounty will
big
be?
one. 5x the big. So if they're playing 2K,
Yeah, 5K amount.
yeah, it'll be 5K a man.
5K, yeah.
But if they have the straddle on, it might be 10K.
Might be 10, yeah.
That'll be
Oh my
huge.
God. No, that's my heart's
Yeah.
not made for that yet.
10K, 100K a loss. Oh no, a little less, but whatever.
100K per losing
Before we get
stand-up
to-
game? Wow.
Yeah, before we get to the big question, let's ask this question. How many live views do you think we'll have today? What do you think the number will be at its peak?
It depends. If
If there's a fight,
we'll have over 40K. I think we'll hover around 35K
No, they
today.
should replay when Nick and Gerry got into it, just in the background, so people tune in.
Yeah, just that one. That people will love that.
Oh, that was hilarious.
The line is at 27,000.
27?
yeah, that's pretty good. I mean, it's still daytime, still weekday.
I'll take an over.
I'm gonna
Over?
take the
Take over?
Okay.
I'm gonna take the over because I think it's very possible.
And 'cause you're supposed
I want it to be over.
Yeah, you
I
want
need
it
to
Yeah.
be bullish.
I hope I'm wrong. I hope it's the over also. I hope it's at 100,000.
Everyone's really nice though in this game. No one's gonna get into a fight. Like,
But,
Yeah, I
but
know.
there will be a lot of action.
yes.
And if
There'll
someone
be
gets
blood.
stuck big time, I think the viewership will
If
go up.
there's a pot that goes viral, you know, kind of like on Twitter and people send it to each
Yeah,
other,
yeah.
that next like hour, it could be like a jumping like
There's a
10,000
spike.
people or
There's a
whatever
spike,
it is.
for sure.
Yeah.
All right.
Yeah, there's some viral moments.
Biggest loser, you get one.
Action day.
Hands.
Oh.
Sorry.
I love Action Dan, but I think
I love hands.
I'm gonna
think
go
his-
Peter.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I'm toggling
Ooh, Peter's a
between
good choice.
Peter and Texas Mike, but I'll go Peter.
No, yeah. You don't. No, come on. We're gonna.
No.
We're gonna fight during the pregame if you go to Texas.
I think
Flip the table.
Are you all right?
I think
Yeah.
the thing is like
I was just trying to give some action to the viewers.
I think between Texas Mike and Action Dan, they're both the favorites to be the biggest winner and the biggest loser.
Yeah.
Like that's kind of the way it is.
Yeah.
Highest VPIP tonight.
But I've never seen. Yes,
sorry.
but that's okay.
Ooh.
But I've never seen. For me though, I've never seen Action Dan at this level. So that's why I don't know, right? Like if he is who he is, and this doesn't change anything, for sure.
But that's all we have to go by, right?
Yeah.
So
I think he's a lunatic. I think he's going to be the same.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. I think
probably
he's
will be.
I think they're both the favorite to be the winner and loser at the top.
Makes
Both.
sense.
It's just in their blood.
Okay,
Me
high.
too.
Well, okay.
I wanna
Who
talk
who would you like to pick for highest? And what do you think it is?
Texas Mike.
I know, but
He's
that's
gonna
needed to
be-
hear it.
Okay, I would normally say 86
No.
because last time he broke a record, but I'm not going to. The game's too big.
Oh no.
I'm going to go around 75.
No.
I would
Oh,
set
I'll
the
take
line
the under.
at
Way
70.
under.
I would
Oh,
set the
I
line at 70.
I have him at.
I have faith in action.
I'd like
in Texas,
to wager
Texas
everything
Mike.
I have on under 70.
I don't think he reaches 50. I think he's in the. I think he's giving Action in the low 40s.
Yeah,
And I
I'm
think
going 45
Texas
as the barometer.
I think
What's
that's
that?
still Action.
Low 40?
I go 45.
45 the
45.
line.
Yeah, that's a good line.
That's what I'm saying. Yeah,
Take
I think
over.
he's in. I think he's in the low 40s, and I think that's still very, very good. Like that's
Texas
above
Mike,
what
don't let me down.
Okay, what's the highest VPIP number, period? Because it might not be Texas Mike, the highest VPIP.
Well, if it's gonna be, it's gonna be
over
Peter
under 50.
or Texas Mike.
It might. No, I don't. It's
Texas
just this game is so big.
Okay, well,
Under.
we only have two.
Yeah.
We only have 2 minutes, so here's the last question, so we make sure we get it in.
Sure.
What are the viewers, or what's going to be the biggest beef this year for the viewers? What do you think the biggest beef will be? They complained about everything last year, which they should because they're invested. What do you think this year's biggest complaint and beef will be? If you had to come up with something.
From the chat pros?
Why
From the
is
chat
Nick
pros.
Vertucci the host?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, baby. I'll take, what is it better, the under or over? I'll take the over, right?
Yeah, over.
That is,
I take the over.
that is a good one.
Fuck.
They're going to
That's right.
complain about Tom tanking.
You know, I would like to
I think.
congratulate Christian at almost making day one as the commentator. We're going to go with
We're gonna
Tuckman. He's
replace
on
him.
his
It's
way.
gonna be that, but
Nick's
it's also
gonna
gonna
go
be
in the booth.
Tom Dwan's not
I
playing
didn't-
enough hands.
Yeah, I didn't come here to do
Okay.
commentary, but now, sorry, Christian.
No, Nick's obviously the only qualified person here to do commentary tonight.
Yeah, that's right. So you guys get me on commentary and host because Christian just made it.
You're just going to run the whole show.
Yeah, I'm just going to run it. No. You think what? You think?
Nothing.
I thought you said something. Anyone?
I think it'll be Tom. Like,
Nothing.
Tom,
Tom's not playing enough hands.
Yeah, I
That'll
think
be-
they'll
that'll be
complain
another
about
one.
Tom tanking too much.
Yeah. People tanking in general.
Yeah, I can't imagine like last year. The biggest complaint on the first day was not enough action. I do not see that happening.
No, this is a
It's
different
not.
lineup.
Different lineup.
Different lineup.
Different structure.
Also, the structure is different. Like we're.
Yeah.
They're not. It's not a true 100,000 BBs. Like
Yeah,
it's-
100%.
little-
Yeah.
That 2K big line.
That 2K matters.
Big deal, yeah.
Big deal. And I also suspect the straddle might go on. Like
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right, so let's wrap this. Any closing comments by anyone before I wrap it? All right, you guys, we're ready. MDG2, we're running it back. For myself, Nick Vertucci, Christian Soto, Veronica Brill, and the Brazil god, Luis Envy out.
High Stakes Poker Productions presents on May 28th,
2.2 million. Oh, you gotta be kidding me.
the $1 million game is back.
He gets called, he's down $1 million. This is the cooler we've been waiting for.
2 million pop.
Wow.
Hit me. No balls. Then fuck you.
All in for Rampage.
God is choosing me. God did.
What just happened? Rampage gets it through. 2.2 million. You all wanted blood? Here you got it. Instant legend. Tom Dwan has just won the biggest pot in the history of televised poker.
Texas Mike, Action Dan, Hands, Stanley Tang, Brandon Steven, Peter, Doug Polk, Tom Dwan, Santosh, Alan Keating. Are you ready?
Chat pro, slow roll, never fold. Raise it up. Chat pro, slow roll, never fold. Raise it up. Chat pro, slow roll, never fold. Slow roll, never fold. Slow roll, never fold. Raise it up. Raise it up. Chat pro.